And she starts to get the real picture of what was happening to Andrea growing up. She finds out that Andrea was the victim of abuse in that household. One of Andrea's friends tells the story of the leftover sandwich, okay? The quote, leftover sandwich, all right? And she tells the story of how one day when she was eating dinner over at Andrea's house, that Andrea's parents had made themselves burgers for dinner. And they gave her and Andrea what they called a quote leftover sandwich, which essentially was all of the leftovers in a sandwich. AKA there was no burger in it. It was basically like ketchup, mayo, maybe some cheese, maybe some lettuce. And that was the sandwich while they were sinking their teeth into juicy burgers. And the friend says that based on what happened, she realized that this wasn't the first time that Andrea had had a leftover sandwich, that this was something that had happened quite a bit. Okay. And we also find out that, at some point, Andrea runs away. She confides in her friends about this abuse and she runs away. She hid in her friend's closet for 4 days to get out of the house. Okay. And one of the other aspects of abuse we find out is that Andrea accused her adopted father, Dennis, of molesting her. Okay. She accused him of this. And she told her adoptive mother, Brenda. And of course, Brenda went and took her straight to the police station to get a stay. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. What did Brenda do? Brenda called her a liar. Actually, let me just let you hear what the hell Brenda did in her own words.
One day there was an argument, and she turned around and said that Daddy had been molested me. And I told her, I said, that's a lie. At the time, we had her in counseling, and the three of us went in and talked to the minister. And he took her in and talked to her first. And then he had the I come in. But he just threw it something to say. And she just says, yeah, I lied. He told her with all of us there, he says, do you realize what kind of allegation like that could do your name? She admitted that nobody touched her. It was a lie, but she was trying to get her way.
Bring the church in.
Okay. The male voice you hear at the end is Dennis, the adoptive father. Sorry. And the voice you hear in the beginning is Brenda. Did you hear what she said? She said, one day we got into an argument and Andrea told me that, Dennis had been molesting her. And I told her that's a lie. Whoo, baby. Let's just take a moment and hold space for all of the children who went to adults for help and were failed. Let's just take a moment of silence for them and let's just hold some space for them. Because we're going to get into this story and how it unfolds. But I can't help but wonder if this story would have had a different outcome if she had believed her child. She said, I told her that's a lie. And she said that we had her in counseling. Where was this counseling? In the church. Yikes. With the pastor. Yikes. Who's probably doing his own dirt. Yikes. And what happens? Andrea goes in with the pastor by herself. A few minutes later, the pastor calls the adoptive parents in, the very same person who she's accusing of molesting her. And what does Andrea say? Oh, I lied. I lied. It didn't happen. Oh, boy. Shit like this frustrates me. It really does, because it's like, what? Anyway, we'll get into more detail about that. And then here you have this man who was the one who was accused of doing the molesting being like, oh, she lied. She said it was a lie. So Kathy is finding out all of this stuff about her biological daughter. She's finding out that her biological daughter was not, in fact, adopted into a perfect little happy family. That her biological daughter, according to people who were close to the daughter, was actually being abused and mistreated by her adoptive parents. Which, when you think about how as soon as she had that baby, suddenly, what happened? Suddenly, Andrea became a problem child. As soon as she had her own biological daughter, suddenly her adoptive daughter was a problem. Okay. So, as Kathy continues her investigation, she's finding out all this information, and then she finds out that Dennis Bowman, her biological daughter's adoptive father, has a freaking record, y'all. He has a record. And what is the record for? Breaking and entering and stalking a coworker. Hello. And when the police found him, in his possession was women's lingerie, a mask, and a sawed-off shotgun. Hey, can you guys believe that? This is a man who was allowed to adopt a baby girl. He had a record for breaking and entering and stalking a coworker. Are the pieces starting to come together for y'all? This is the same man that Meta McLeod says abducted her when she was 6, even though she can't prove it. This fool had a record. And through even more investigation, Andrea's biological mother finds out that he has done even worse crimes than breaking and entering and stalking a coworker. He has even more of a record, y'all.
May 23, 1980. He was 31 years old. Bowman attacked the victim. She was a teenager. It was along Lakeshore Drive near Kirk Park in Holland, Michigan. So, questioned by the lawyer, what's the first thing that happened? Her answer. He said, pull over, get off your bike, and start heading towards the woods. Then I saw the gun, and he yelled at me again, and he fired the gun past me. And he said, God damn it, get off your bike and start heading towards the woods. And he shot the gun towards my foot, and I saw the dirt fly. He told me he was going to blow a hole right through me, and he was pointing the gun at me. And I turned around and saw a pickup truck heading south, so I waved my arms and tried to make the person driving the truck stop. And I threw my bike in the back of the truck, and she opened the door and let me in. And when he was caught, he told the police, you gotta let me go. I gotta go pick up my little daughter from school.